Hey, it's Jocelyn here with Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood. And if you are listening to this episode, this is a Friday episode. And on Friday, I do episodes that are kind of more focused on motherhood and what I'm experiencing, thinking about, or going through at the moment, and how I am striving to find positivity or work through negativity. And on Tuesdays, I do a more pregnancy mindset focused episode. So if you are pregnant, tune into those episodes, and motherhood can enjoy these ones. It's kind of fun to have a little bit of both in one. I've felt inspired to do pregnancy stuff, but I also didn't want to let go of the other motherhood stuff that I was trying to encourage. So thank you for joining. Today we're going to talk about flexibility in motherhood. I have come and grown a lot on this topic, but I know I still have a lot of growth to come. So if flexibility is a little tough for you, this will be a good episode to help you learn how to shift and to fall a little bit easier into some flexibility. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life, and I can help you. Thanks for joining. Motherhood requires flexibility, and sometimes this one can be very tough. I was actually reminded of this week as I observed a couple from afar. The husband had asked the wife, "Can we stay and do a s'more for our daughter?" And the mother was like, "No, it is already 20 minutes past the baby's bedtime." And she was a little bit sharp in her retort, and you could just tell there was friction there. The husband wanted to stay, but the wife wanted to adhere to all the hard work she had done to have bedtimes at the same time and a normal time. I could just feel the tension. And I don't know if feel's the right word. I guess I could feel it, but I could see it and observe that it was there between them, and my heart just ached. It ached for the father, and that I wanted him to enjoy that s'more with the daughter. It ached for the mother, and that I wanted her to have that bedtime, but I also wanted them to work together in my mind and be more flexible. I wanted her to allow bedtime to go a little bit later this night so that they could enjoy this more. And I guess it could go the other way too, where he could say, "No, we're not doing this more this time. We'll go put the baby in bed." But in this moment, it was kind of leaning more towards, why wasn't the mom wanting to be more flexible? Like, they don't do this very often. Could this just be a one-time thing? And I understand having babies on a schedule. I've had 4 of my own babies, but nonetheless, this kind of brought to my mind flexibility, and how we as mothers can be flexible or we can be inflexible, and sometimes it can create friction. In this example, it kind of created friction in the marriage, but it's not only the marriage where it can create friction in your mind and in your own thoughts. It takes a lot of mental shifting and opening up and thinking about what you really want out of life and what you want the memories to be and what you want that moment to be like. And it has taken me a lot of really thinking about those things to become more flexible. I grew up on a time rigid schedule. Now, it wasn't strict, but we were always on time or early to everything we went to. And lives were kind of run a little bit by the clock. And I'm not saying it's bad or good, it was just how life was. Now, being married to my husband for 11 years, and before that, actually, before we were even married, I realized there was a difference in timing and scheduling. His family did not run the way my family did. They tended to be late and to do things last minute. whenever we did things as a family, they were always planned out and like planned out in advance. His family was kind of on spur of the moment, seat of your pants, let's do this. And my family was not. So you can imagine the friction that has created as we have meshed our lives together. And as we have tried to grow together in marriage and in raising kids, it has had some really tough moments of like, we have to plan ahead for this. We have to be on time for this. And if we're not on time, I am mad, frustrated, irritated, and filled with anxiety. Can you relate? Oh, it can be really tough in dealing with these sorts of situations. Like this week, we even had one come up, and it's something I'm continuously trying to work through. Now, what I want to tell you is that I have had to really think about what I want and what I want the memories to be. And I think it's helped as my kids have gotten older. I don't feel I have to adhere quite as much to the schedule, but I am still a scheduled person, kind of as I was raised. But as I have taken the time to sit down and really think what I wanted in life, did I want to be rigid and scheduled? Or did I want my life to have a little bit more flexibility and be a little bit more fun? And I'm not saying that flexibility always means more fun, because sometimes it actually does lead to more stress. But those are the experiences where you learn. I don't like to think of it as win or lose. It's win or learn. And there have been a lot of times when I have tried to be flexible that I have learned, like, yeah, that one wasn't worth it. That was a little bit pushing me too much. And other times when I push myself to be flexible, I'm like, wow, I need to do this more often. That felt really good to change up my life and my schedule a little bit. It felt so good to help someone out, or to serve that person, or to do this for my husband or for my child. And it takes those shifts. Something I've realized that it really helps is to think about it, is to really think about the shift and if it's going to be something you want to do. My husband really wanted to do a family activity thing this last week, but one of my kids had soccer practice. And unfortunately, my kid had not made it to this soccer practice, like at all. And the season of soccer is only 1 month. And if we didn't go to this soccer practice, it would mean that he would miss all the soccer practices for the whole season of soccer this year. And there was that pull in me that was like, he needs to go to this. We've got to get him to this soccer practice. And I was feeling really rigid on this situation. Like, I didn't want to shift. I didn't want to change. I didn't want to be flexible. And my husband's like, we can divide and conquer. We can do this, but I would like to go here. And I felt all this stress and anxiety. And in fact, I was really angry about it for a little while. I was like, why? Why do we have to do this? Why do I have to feel such irritation over something simple? And I just decided, okay, I'm going to talk to my child about it, see how they feel, what they would prefer, and I'm just going to be okay with it and not over stress about going to a rec league soccer practice. And it turns out the child did want to go to the family thing. And so I was like, okay, we'll go, and I will be flexible in this, and we will just allow this to happen this way. And we did. We went. It turned out to be a very beautiful, a very delightful evening. And I had to work through that, though. I'm not telling you to miss prior commitments. That is not the message in that story. That story is just my most recent dealing with being flexible and how I had to work through it. I kind of had to really slow myself down, think through it, and allow myself to be open. Sometimes we can be so closed off in our way is the only way that we forget that in being flexible, sometimes it helps strengthen relationships. It helps strengthen relationships with our children and with our husbands in being flexible, in realizing that nap time doesn't always have to happen at nap time if we are helping someone, or if we are talking with them. I am reminded of something I heard once about if you are so scheduled, you don't have time to, in essence, help out where God needs you to help. And that really resonated with me because I was so scheduled, I was so on the nap and bedtime that I don't think I would have been able to listen at times for what God wanted me to do. Now, I'm not trying to be one extreme or the other, and I know I've said these 3 or 4 times, but I just want you to be open to being a little bit more flexible. Be a little more flexible in your mothering with nap times, with bedtimes, and for your husband. I feel like sometimes in the name of raising children and having them on sleep schedules, we forget that we are married and that we want to grow and strengthen that marriage. And oftentimes, sometimes that might require you, well, not require, nothing's required, but that might need you to step out of your comfort zone and to be a little bit more flexible. All of this begins with shifting your mindset. As I have gotten more flexible over the years, I get less stress and less anxiety, and I am able to push myself a little bit farther than before. I feel more happy, and when I am flexible, I've decided that it doesn't do me any good to be stressed the whole time I'm flexible. So like the example with going to a barbecue instead of a practice. I know that if I am annoyed that whole barbecue, that doesn't serve me for being flexible. In fact, it's probably worse that I was flexible than if I just would have divided and conquered, like let my husband take part of the kids to do it and me take the other kid to soccer practice. That probably would have served us better if I'm going to go to the barbecue and be all angry. So it's not only flexible in that moment, it is realizing the thoughts that you think and the things you do to make that flexibility actually build instead of break. Because if I had gone to that barbecue all mad and frustrated, we would have ended the night frustrated. But I realized and have realized with experience that that doesn't help anything or anyone. It takes being open and just enjoying the moments that you're flexible to get better at it. I know for some of you, this might feel daunting. For some of you, this is like, yes, I'm going to try and do this more. Do the small thing that is in your mind to be a little flexible. Or pay attention, because I feel like in the next week or two, you will have a moment in your motherhood to be more flexible and realize, yep, this is the moment Jocelyn is talking about. I am going to think through this, decide what is going to work best and what will help build, and I'm going to try and enjoy if I choose that flexibility. Do the small thing to have a little bit more flexibility in motherhood, in raising kids, and in marriage. You are amazing, and you are doing amazing things in raising your children. It is not an easy task, but I feel like motherhood is a high calling that is not, that's not given the report that it needs. Motherhood can be such a blessing. You are a blessing to your children, and your children need you. God needs you. Your husband needs you, and you need you to stretch and to grow yourself to become more flexible. I am cheering for you. One way to brighten your home through scents is to use like a candle, a wax melt, or a room spray. And just having something good to smell can really refreshen your surroundings. I recently acquired my sister's candle business, and I hand pour all of my candles, wax melts, and room sprays. And they are available to help freshen your house, to freshen your rooms. I like the room sprays in the bathroom. It can really brighten the room when they tend to smell or can smell kind of gross. So if that interests you and you want to brighten your home through a scent, I encourage you to check out Flicker's Candle Co. The link will be in the show notes. Keep up the good work, Mama, Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight, and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.